So, in today's sacred journey, the first of 2025, our 10th journey together, I wanted to reflect upon something that has been a really important and a mainstay for me in terms of the honoring of the inner sanctuary that is so important to be able to bring our truest and best self into the world. And that is the power of the incremental, the power of small. I recently was thinking about this, and I'll share a couple of examples from my own life and then invite you to consider it within your life. I was thinking about this because in November, I had a quadricep injury that was pretty severe for me anyway, that has taken a few months to heal. And it reminded me of this skill, this tool, of the power and the importance of making a commitment, keeping our perspective, and keeping things small. So when we look at an overall need or an overall goal or something that we're really wanting to be able to focus on or accomplish in our life, in this instance, helping my quadricep to heal, it can become so overwhelming when we look at it from the broad picture, the big picture, as you're seeing here, that it can become almost too much or feel like, well, what difference can I possibly make in this big issue? We could be talking about climate change. We could be talking about allowing our body to heal. What makes the difference, my friends, is when we bring it into the moment and we take what can feel or be a rather large task and bring it into just bite-sized moments. So when my quadricep was injured in November, I knew I had to return to this truth. And that was to maintain my confidence in my own body's healing ability, to maintain perspective and feeling optimistic, was not to worry about exactly how long it was going to take or what I was going to do in all the days in between, but it was to greet each day with love and self-care and with this commitment to myself to honor where I was and take just the next tiny movement. So from the beginning, when I literally had no muscular response in my leg, through every day, as I began to allow it to heal, as I began to allow it to move, as I began to swim again in the pool, as each tiny flutter of my leg brought healing and recovery, that's how I got to where it is today. The same thing happened for me when I decided I was going to become a minister. I'll be honest, and I hope you're thinking about your own life at this point, maybe even your own goals this year. I had for so long put off the dream of calling, really, of becoming a minister because it was just too big. And I was approaching it from its totality. I was thinking about all the reasons why it was too much and why it couldn't happen and the debt it was going to require to go back to school and the requirements of doing internships and how was that going to work with another job and being a mother, and until I realized I didn't need to do all of it. I just needed to do the first thing and then the next and then the next. And literally over those bite-size increments, day by day by day, which turned into months by months by months, which eventually turned into years and years, I followed the dream. So when life feels overwhelming, when our aspirations or our calling or our goals feel just too big, I invite us to come in close. Experience the power of the incremental, of the small, and let that carry us to where we're called to become and be. William Blake says in one of my very, very favorite poems, but I'll read just this first stanza. To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. My friends, bring yourself in. Take it breath by breath, moment by moment, and cherish the process. And before you know it, it will become days, weeks, months, and the changes will have occurred.